We're on, we're live. Good morning, everyone. How are you? I mean, walking in here this morning and seeing all these people, this is more exciting than taking over Venezuela. I mean, what could be better than this? And I heard, rumor has it, that next year, NRF, for the first time ever, will be hosted in Venezuela. Really, it's going to be a big show, really big. It's going to be amazing. One of the best ever. Nothing like it ever. Anyway, good morning. My name is Ken Pilot. I'm a retailer at heart. Spent a number of years in president and CEO roles with Gap, American Eagle, Ralph Lauren, J. Crew, and ABC Carpet and Home. Over the past 10 years, I've been investing and advising early-stage retail technologies that help brands scale. In addition, I also do some advisory work. And finally, I have a podcast called The Retail Pilot, which is based on retail CEO conversations. I've had over 100. And if anyone here is struggling from jet lag, I highly recommend you put it on. I could take you out in 3 to 4 minutes and get you off your Ambien craze. I am excited to be talking about TagStar today and what the platform does. I've been working with them for a couple of years, so full disclosure. But I think one thing that's really important to note, today the PDP, the product description page, is more important than ever. Over 50% of all traffic goes to your PDP. And with the advent of OpenAI and Perplexity and Gemini, even more customers are landing on your PDP, and that's just going to continue to grow. So in truth, the PDP is the new storefront. And what does TagStar do exactly? Well, they sprinkle this fairy dust on your PDP in the form of FOMO phrases, attributes, and calls to action that drives conversion. And it's not a question of if it works. It's a question of how well it works. And we're going to talk about that, and we're going to share examples. But I'm super impressed because it's something the customer sees and can react to. And that's what we're going to dig into today. I'm excited to have some great people, friends of mine, as well as of TagStar, on the panel today. And I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. So, Bob?
Good morning. Hi, I'm Bob Yarborough. I am a retailer, and I've been with the Knitwell Group, which is a women's special retail retailer. Since 2019, I made the trek and move up to Hingham, Massachusetts when I joined Talbot's. And over the past years, the Knitwell Group was formed among a number of brands: Ann Taylor, Loft, the Chico's Group, and Lane Bryant. And I've had the opportunity to spend time at all of those, bringing technologies and experiences like what Ken has just described, and I'm looking forward to sharing that with you.
All right. Hi, guys. Good morning. My name is Casey Sharrett. I am the very newly installed Chief Digital Officer at Hanna Andersson. Premium children's wear clothing. We're famous for our matching pajamas. If you don't have them, you should get them. Hanna Soft, highly recommend. Super, super comfortable. We have a very loyal, devoted fan base of customers, over 1 million members. And I've always been a customer person. I'm going to classify myself as like a retailer too, since you guys both said it. 21 years at Toys R Us, Kids R Us, and Babies R Us, running stores, district regions, and then switching over to the dark side, going to retail to lead their omni-channel efforts. Also, multiple years at Barnes & Noble and GoPro, just amazing brands, but always, always, always the focus of putting the customer at the center of everything that we do. So I'm excited to be here today to share a little bit. I know we don't have a ton of time, so let's do it.
But lots of experience here and examples that we're going to share. Let's jump into it. Casey, let me start with you. Traffic is more expensive and harder to come by. What pressures are you feeling most acutely today regarding on-site conversion?
Okay, lots. And let's first start with just the traffic challenge, I think. So traffic is hard to come by. It's expensive. And now, as of the recent past, we have new and emerging channels that we're trying to use to bring our customers to the site. So we're trying to make some really tough decisions, because I don't think most of us, and probably show of hands in the room, is anybody getting a lot more money than they did last year to get traffic to the site for acquisition? No. So now we have to figure out how to spread it all differently and reach our targeted customers. So at the heart of it is understanding your customer, and figuring out how to talk with them and personalize when you do get them to the site, because that is just worth so much more than it used to be. So for us at Hanna, I'm just learning the business, mind you, but I'm sure the challenges are the same. We're trying to, get consumers to the site. We're trying to convert them once they're there. If we can get them to look at a page or two and understand just a little bit about them, we can know how to reach and how to target them. So I'm sure the challenges are the same. We'd all like a few more customers. We'd like them to buy more when they're there, more items, and convert at a higher rate.
Bob, you've been in the business a while as well. How are you seeing the customer journey change, and how are you reacting to it at Knitwell?
Yeah, I mean, you said it earlier, is we have customers entering from different channels to the PDP more and more. And in specialty retail, we have some brands with a more mature audience. We continue to see that move to mobile. And as we see those PDP entries in that mobile entry, your product page is an image and a price, unless you're doing something really more. And so that shift has really made us think about, as you just said, is how do you create those moments of opportunity in that 10 or 15 seconds where she's coming in and she's hyper-focused and she doesn't maybe even know who your brand is. So creating that din of there are others shopping here. There's a lot of interest here. That's one of the sort of easy table stakes things you can run after, alongside other things where you're focusing on brand expertise, inclusiveness, and other things like that.
Can I jump in and add to that?
Please don't worry about the way
one of
my
the trends
agenda
that
reads. You jump right in. Just jump in.
It's okay. It's good. Come on, guys. It's
It's a tough
early.
crowd. I
gotta
went
go.
with my best show. I got no laughs earlier. You go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, one of the things that I've seen, and I don't know if you've seen the same as well, but as we are working with new channels by which we're acquiring customers, that we're also finding that our typical landing spots are not necessarily, the traditional places that we're trying to get the customers' eyeballs to. So we're doing a lot more dropping them onto like customized and filtered PLPs, to specialized landing pages, right? And so having that right tool in your toolbox for when you're looking at a different traffic channel, I think is so critical, and one of the reasons why we're here today.
Well, Casey, let's show something that you did while you were at GoPro, and maybe you can speak to this. And this is an example of how TagStar can add important messaging to your PDP page.
Yep. This one was on PDP. So at GoPro, I think I should just say, right, this is low risk if anyone is considering social proofing in your business. Having the opportunity to do a POC to really prove it out on the team is critical, because we're very protective of our brands. We like to have, we're purists, a lot of us, and GoPro was very much that way, where, we wanted to be very careful about messaging, not only frequency, types of messaging, and this is where a partner like TagStar was amazing for us, but, the proof is in the pudding. So what we did, we had a lot of items that when they came out were new, and, people would want to do some research and things, but, there's also some limited supply. So creating those messages of urgency, it's the FOMO message that you were talking about earlier, right? It's that, like, I have to have it. I don't want to be left behind. I think, the whole reason why social media, works so well is that people are able to put things out there into the world, and they measure themselves in likes, right? And how many thumbs ups do I get? So the concept is the same. It's drawing on, the human philosophy that we're people, and we do like to get affirmation of decisions. And so this is a great way. Yeah, all my friends may not be buying that particular product, but I have a community that has made the same decision that I'm considering making. So I think it works really well. It worked really well for us through the POC. So we did a full-blown rollout and saw some great results.
And the call outs that you selected here that we're seeing, whether don't miss out or popular, I guess there's a list of how many choices roughly do you have to choose from? And
There certainly over a dozen. And then, what are the great things about partnering with Tagstar is that there is a true kind of understanding, sit down and understand the business. What are the messages that, we believe will resonate to the consumers, but it's really about testing into which ones work the best and where to put them. Because having a message on the PDP is great, but when you look at a PLP, everything can't be can't have something, flashing on the screen or different colors and what have you. So, we worked on placement, we worked on messaging, we worked on, the visual treatments, all of it. And it's great to have an expert to do that because honestly, to do it yourself is a very big undertaking. So it was great that way.
So Casey hit on a very important point, and probably most critical to this platform. I said earlier, it's not a matter of if it works, it's how well it works. It's a matter of how well and where you place your tags. Because I've seen this I would say is probably best practice, where you're seeing the tags right on the PDP. That will generate the highest conversion. Other companies might put it in different places, but on the product drives the highest results. So this may be, and Bob and I are going to talk about this a little bit more in the next few slides, but the conversations you have with your chief marketing officer who may protest where it appears, that's great. It's just going to lower your sales. So that's an internal discussion, but this works, and it works best when it's on the PDP.
If I could say it, Hanna, too, and something fairly new is bringing it into email as well. So
we're going to get into that.
Oh, you're going there. All right.
We're going there. Oh, yeah. I'm not just up here as a talking head. Okay, Bob, I'm going to turn this over to you. We've got 3 brands that you've been able to take a look at within your portfolio at Knitwell. And let's kind of dissect and talk about the journey and how you were also able to differentiate the way you use Tagstar from one brand to the other. And you may want to hit on some of the internal battles that you faced, flexing the platform to its strength.
Yeah, I think we have up here, we have Chico's. And so the 3 brands we're going to talk about are Chico's, Soma, our intimates brand, and then Talbot's, another specialty retail. We started with Talbot's a couple of years ago, and it was a pretty new concept, I think, back when we were dabbling with this. And when I brought this into our team to test this, first off, we have a test everything mentality, which means we can take all sorts of crazy risks to understand what resonates with customers. And I'm telling you, I had a heck of a time convincing folks to put this in an interruptive position. There was a desire to sort of park it up here on the right or park it in line. But we went bold, and we saw big results. And if I would suggest to anybody thinking of this is think about testing boldly, because it's the customer who tells you what they like and what they respond to. You can then look into subjects of margin optimization and other things like that as another factor. But I would say the customer experience and getting that voice of customer to tell you what to do is so absolutely critical. So here on Chico's, we were a well-oiled machine to really go in and drive heavy on the interruptiveness. I will say one more thing. Even my senior designer who was working on this was ever so carefully wanting to integrate the style quietly into our current experience. And we said, hey, we want this to stand out. Let's go with Tagstar's best proposal. Let's see if we're stepping over the line. And then let's calibrate. Don't tread carefully. Go boldly.
Taking a look at Talbot's, who you started with, you can see a bit of the difference between one platform and the other, how you're featuring Tagstar. Maybe you can speak to that.
So yeah, you see some of the same concepts of interruptiveness, but what you see is it's really integrated into the style and the voice of the brand. And so you can take the same philosophy, but then if you're operating with multiple brands, you can really make it branded. And I would say the experience that I had when we worked together on both of these brands was the turnkey nature and the quality of the design injection was really excellent. So I think we're going to talk about that as far as time to market. But what you see here this was like the 1.0 version. We got it right from the start.
And then finally, your testing with Soma also, again, seems to be a bit more evident here than what we just saw with Talbot's.
Yeah, Soma is a sister brand of Chico's. We choose some things for scale and efficiency, but you see the coloring. It blends well. It looks good. It feels like it's part of the brand, which is great.
Talk a little bit about the KPI. I mean, when you are evaluating platforms to use, there are KPIs that you are focused on in a laser-like way. Bob, I'll let you start. Then Casey, please chime in on what you're looking for to evaluate a platform, especially in the area of marketing.
Well, before I get into site KPIs, one of the most compelling considerations here was an urgency driver that was not a margin erosion type of a driver.
Great point.
So we were really looking at trying to drive full price, not just markdown or not just sales. And that really panned out for us. Now, as far as site KPIs, of course, we're looking for revenue per visitor. We're looking for that balance between conversion and AOV. We don't want to drive urgency that drives smaller purchases, higher shipping costs. The interesting thing, though, as far as KPIs is our KPI for our add to cart rate doesn't go up that much. It's actually our checkout start rate on our retail sites. So what it does is it shows you that the confidence that's built here is carried down through the experience and through her purchase, which is a great set of numbers.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I would add to that, so from a KPI perspective, I think every team probably has a slightly different opinion. Every brand is going to have some different thoughts on what's important to them. I would actually just maybe take a step outside of that and talk about the type of partner, that I'm looking for to do an implementation. And I think, at the end of the day, you want someone who's going to bring strategic partnership to the table as well, and to also be aggressive with roadmap development and bringing new features and testing along with you.
Great point.
Some of my best partners have been ones that, have been willing to entertain some of the crazy and said, hey, I'm along for the ride, let's go do this, and have been willing to, build some products alongside of us so that we can test. And so I think it's the thought leadership and the strategy, in addition to, responsiveness and uptime and things along those lines. But yeah, double click on everything from a KPI perspective already called out.
So the numbers that I've heard and that I've seen, the range, especially on fashion apparel, can be as low as 3% conversion lift to an 8% conversion lift. And obviously, as Bob described, the better you show the actual messaging, the closer to the PDP or on PDP, correlates directly to the lift that you see from the platform. So this is a classic case where if the platform's not doing well, you got to blame yourself. You can't blame the vendor because you're not showing the platform, you're not optimizing it. So that's just a key thing. And again, internal conversations on what optimization might look like, but best practices, I think you're seeing some of those here. Let's talk a little bit about implementation. I think everybody has one person that works in the IT department unless they think that they really can build this stuff at home, which I wouldn't recommend. But with that one person in IT, on a scale of 1 to 10, how difficult, challenging, 10 being ridiculously easy, 1 being really difficult, is it to implement Tagstar? Bob?
Well, without sounding gratuitous, let's say a 1.
Oh, please do. This will help me out. I might be able to extend
one.
my deal with these guys.
I think it comes in 2 parts. First off, it's a tag-based solution, which is a fantastic type of a technology to integrate. It makes things easier. But I would speak to what you said, Casey, is that partnership. The ability to farm out specs, requirements, and to have brought back fully formed prototyping where you're not having to actually give that much feedback. It sounds like a dream scenario, but we had a really solid relationship from the start. And I think getting off on that beginning foot, the right foot, is all the difference. It's like onboarding a new employee. You want to bring them in and make it right. I felt like that set us up for success right from the start.
Yeah, I'm a little reluctant to answer that question. I think Matt is in the audience, my IT partner, and so I would never try to say anything is easy because I'm not that guy that has to do it and I write the check that other people have to cash. But I would tell you, partnership was amazing. It was not difficult with the team. The harder part was not the implementation, but it was actually sitting with the brand team, the creative team, and saying, what are the messages? How do we want to word them? Because it's not just a copy decision. It's actually one that is, to your point, all these great examples are personalized to the brand. And that's the harder part, is getting the business. Isn't that always the thing with projects? Sometimes the hardest part is not the actual implementation. It's getting the business team, all aligned.
And Hanna Andersson is on Shopify. Is that correct? Not correct. Incorrect. Okay.
Yep.
And Knitwell, who's your platform?
Well, we still have a bit of a collection of platforms. Talbot's runs on SFCC. And Chico's, we just completed a composable stack replatform last year. So dramatically different underlying tech stacks, both elegantly implemented on top.
Great. So this can certainly handle the heavy lifting that comes with whether it's a home-built e-commerce platform or works really well with Shopify, as there's a plug-in and a faster model for brands that are younger, smaller, and may not have the same budget size as brands like you're working with. Mm-hmm. What surprised you the most about this? Was there one area? I mean, I love the fact that you talk about full price sell-through and driving that. Were there other surprises or things that you learned implementing social proof and Tagstar, et cetera? Casey, what are your thoughts? What was a big aha moment?
I don't know that there was a single aha moment. I mean, I was surprised at how flexible the messaging could be, that you could change the messaging. It was like, there were some rule-based things that were in there that you could change the messaging as you go. I don't know that I had thought it all the way through. I would also say I was a skeptic, like seriously, like I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And personally, I was like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I like it, maybe I don't. I'm not sure, because this was, still a few years back now. I think it's pretty common to see it throughout experiences. I think I was a skeptic. So, my probably aha moment was like, wow, it's working. All right, how do we run and do it faster and better and all the things.
Ken, I've had two. One was that first proof of the pudding is in the eating, and seeing significant conversion and revenue change as a result of this. These were sort of dream scenarios for us, and this is one of the most successful initiatives we've run in the past 3 years. The second one is we run holdout groups, so we continue to hold 10% holdout who don't get this experience because our friends in finance want to make sure our investments continue to deliver. And the durability, we expected a big newness factor. That didn't pan out. This has a real durable impact on customers. And at some of our brands, we have significant cohort of loyal returning customers. They're not becoming blind to it. So it's a meaningful change. It's a good change.
So we talked a little bit about where else can Tagstar show up, or how else can the platform be used. Bloomingdale's has used it very successfully with email messaging. And to the side there, you'll see some of the key conversion and other KPIs. But again, 8% conversion lift on email messaging that was sent out using the platform. I mean, it's a big number on a big number. So there are plenty of ways. I'm looking forward to seeing how retailers may even think about including this in stores. There's no reason that they can't. I mean, there's nothing better when you're a customer to know that what you're buying might be a bestseller, or it's running out, or there's only a few left. You really feel like you made the right move. And that's really what Tagstar tries to do. Let the customer know why they need to move and affirm why they're making the right move. One of the other areas that I find important to talk about is the conversation around AI, which I don't want to get too deep into, but AI is driving the platform. Where is AI? What is AI touching in your worlds, possibly outside of what Tagstar is doing? But what are you most excited about that AI is doing for your business today?
I'll start, and I'll keep it simple because AI is everywhere, and I'm surprised it only took us 25 minutes to, to say AI in this presentation. So I think for me, one of our focuses coming into Hanna is taking a look at how to best personalize for each and every customer, right? So that one-to-one experience, which makes it super hard to measure things. When you're testing all over the place, when you're serving up people different experiences for every single, customer, potentially having a different experience when they come to the site or they're engaging with any of your channels. Super challenging to figure out now how do you measure success, because the traditional mechanisms for measuring are just made that much more challenging, and boy, do you have to have a great data and analytics team to be able to pull some of those things apart. So God bless for my partners on that side of the business. And I think the other thing that everybody talks about AI, and it's like, flashy, shining, new objects, and we always run after them, and the things that are customer facing like this are amazing, but like, don't ever forget about the places where you can optimize within your business and your operations and make people's jobs easier, and or create, because I don't know about you guys, right? But almost every team that I've ever worked on, you've had multiple areas in the business where it's a single point of failure. There's a single person, running a team, doing data entry. Oops, my coupon was supposed to be 25% off and it was 20, or the other way around, right? I don't know which is the worst problem. But at the end of the day, utilizing AI to be able to help with those challenges, I still hear a lot of concern from time to time from brands of like, nope, we want so much control. We don't trust, like, this is the moment. Like, it's like, the coming of the internet. Just got to go with it and talk to the folks that are out there doing the same job that you're doing, and you can get comfortable very easily with the things also internally, whether it's creative iterations or keying in pricing changes, things along those lines. So yeah, lots.
Two things. One area is marketing development. We talked about testing. How do we continue to scale with AI technologies with my front-end developers to really put steroids on going through iterations? I would love to continue to test. I think you're going to potentially speak to this on how we extend the life cycle of this type of messaging through attribution and other things like that.
I think that's a great point. Attribution is a key part of this also. Obviously, they're the FOMO, social proof callouts, but when you start to get into key things about the item, fit, or product benefits such as a health factor, or dry clean only or not dry clean only, certain messaging that's very important to move product is the next phase of this. And in fact, AI is pulling that out of your product description to feature that on your PDP.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this in, the past months. Tagstar brings, I would say, the pipes that allow you to bring the expression of content like social proof or other aspects of fit that might not seem so easy to execute through other technologies. So one of the things we're really looking forward to using Tagstar is bringing on Soma, her fit experience or community fit experience, and other social aspects that could be really tangible in the moment to, elevate, that PDP entry. What's going to grab her?
Yeah, the other thing that's important about this platform is how it responds on mobile. and we talked about this this platform is really built for mobile. And as customers are shopping on mobile, this is something that can really impact your mobile experience. Again, if a customer is looking at a PDP for 10 seconds or 13 seconds, what is on that mobile device that's going to lead you to conversion? So I think the mobile adaption is so important as an added benefit. It's not something that's off to the side or on another page. Customers are interacting with this mobily.
And you have to also be thinking about consistency of the experience, that if a consumer opens up an email for a product that they're interested in and they're seeing, one message, right, one tag, you got to carry that all the way through, right? And you don't want to, you got to take care not to show a different message when they actually come onto the site. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, we're going to wrap up. Tagstar is at booth 3971, and if you go there, we are offering the opportunity to win a $500 gift card from Saks. I will suggest that you use it quickly if you win it. Okay, sorry about that. But there are also other gift cards that they're giving away just to ensure a better shopping experience, which is exactly what Tagstar does. I want to thank Casey and Bob for joining me today, the Tagstar team, and all of you for attending. Have a great NRF.
Thank you.